All right. Well, the news has come out much to liberals crying and whining because this kind of thing just lights me up with so much happiness. But, Trump has this thing going on where he's like deploying the National Guard to take back, Washington, D.C., which is like they keep saying, oh, it's at the lowest point in 30 years. Like, it's always been a shithole. Like it's like it maybe metrics might match up, but the truth of the matter is that because it's the capital of the US, it should be like perfectly maintained with, uh, authority and law and order. But of course it's not. It's a democratic city. It's absolute shithole. You can watch video if you Google Washington hoods and on Google on YouTube, it'll take you through like just the most go Google any city in the US and on YouTube, go, Washington hood or hood, LA hood, Chicago hood, Detroit hood, New Jersey hood, blah, blah, blah hood, Albuquerque hood. And it will take you through just like the most hellholish place imaginable. And these places cannot be allowed to exist. We need to change our society to make it so these hoods no longer exist. They're cleaned up. They're gentrified. They're turned into newer established places of law and order because they're traps for everyone. They're traps for law enforcement. They're traps for people who are addicted to drugs, and they become this decrepit form of our society, the hoods. So Trump's deploying the National Guard to Washington, and of course all the liberals are whining and crying, but I fucking agree. I agree with this. I'm like, you know what? It's time to get some authority in the world and in Western society. And it's like, yeah, White House, Caroline Levitt reports there's the criticism deploy National Guard. He did this to LA during the riots. And that sure worked, didn't it? It's like you can be your whining, crying rioters all you want, but when you have military authority, you're able to clamp down on anything because nobody's gonna f with a bunch of troops. And yeah, this comes after Trump declared public safety emergency as a part of a push to control violent crime. And it's like, how could you not agree with this? How could you? And you get into it with people on social media, and it's like there are literally people who are against this. They are against using the military to control areas of lawlessness in Western society. Places in the UK, places in Canada, places in Australia, anywhere with like violent criminal migrants, whatever, wherever they congregate, just send in the boys, take them down, send them back to wherever they came from, and do what you must with them, because just allowing people to run rampant in the world should not be allowed. And you're gonna have all these liberals whining and crying and being like, you know what, they're yeah, that's the truth of the matter. So yeah, White House arrested a bunch of people. Oh God, look at that. 850 officers. Yeah. So I mean, they have they have they have this whole spinning narrative thing going on. We're not experiencing spikes in DC. Is that despite Trump's claims? Yeah, like like there's these marginal metrics, but overall, there's plenty of places in the U.S. They're absolute crime hellholes. It's just a side effect of capitalism and lawlessness and terrible policies from terrible politicians who don't care about anything other than their own political power. So DC's mayor acknowledged local officials could do little to block what was expected to be a 30-day takeover of the capital's policing. Hell yeah, do it. This is Liberation Day. That is, I often say this, like Trump is the reincarnation of Patton, General Patton. And it's like it's true. It's like you have to do this now. It's because like Democrats have allowed for society to become so decrepit, bringing in illegal criminals and being soft on crime, that you have to do this. You have to have these people come in and take over because Marines guard a federal as people protest immigration raids, and that worked, didn't it? It sure works. But yeah, so as city officials in Washington D.C. prepared to Monday to deployment of National Guard, legal questions raised. There's going to be people that fight this. There's going to be people that whine and, oh my God, it's the Yahtzees, and I will take that any day over lawlessness, uh, you know, minority gangs taking over parts of the city. Now that is just ridiculous. It's not gonna happen. Trump considering a lawsuit against Powell. So I mean, Trump is laying down the hammer everywhere. Um, yeah, and look at how Western media is spinning this. Trump to deploy National Guard in D.C. even as data shows 30-year low. Oh yeah, so there's no problem. No problem with crime. Nothing bad is happening. There's no worry about it. There's not a problem here. There's like every day there's like consistent crime in those areas. like like you just have to look up the metrics. And like I don't believe in the terminology. Like, yes, maybe to a fraction of a percent of like what you can do, but I don't believe in when people say, "Well, there's nothing we can do. It's just the way people are. There's just always going to be crimes. We can't do anything about it. Just let them be." It's like, are you insane? It's like, yes, there is something to be doing about it. Look at places like Japan and parts of China, and just where that like strict takeover of authority can perfect the crime underlords, and clamp down on the depravity that society can reach when like essentially they just give up, and then just like, and liberals just kind of say, well, have feelings for the criminals, poor them. Now this is the absolute most jaw-droppingly infuriating trend I've ever seen. And this is the type of thing where send in the fucking troops, arrest all these people, put them in a camp for 3 years. This is the type of lawlessness that we're talking about. And when these hoodlums go and they take over these streets, this is the sign of a decrepit society. Because what? Do the police just not have the resources? Do they just don't bother fixing this because there's too many people? No. I mean, they should come in with the riot police. They should come in with tear gas. They should come in with riot shields and fix this. Never allow this to happen. It's like never ever allow this to happen. The moment one of these lawless street takeovers, where they're probably selling crime, they're probably are selling drugs, they're probably stealing, they're probably doing all kinds of things, send in the boys and take that shit down, because that cannot be allowed to. People have guns, like this is the type of thing I will take any level of authoritarianism over this. Any level of authoritarianism. Because I would every day I would rather, troops patrolling the street corners than this shit running rampant in our fucking streets. And you would too. And you are an absolute liar if you think that this is a better alternative to strict surveillance state authoritarianism, because these people, yeah, someone coming knocking on your door asking you what you're up to is one thing, or someone tracking your phone and seeing what you're up to is another. But these people would take everything from you and leave you beaten and bruised on the streets. So you cannot allow society ever to devil into these levels of when it gets these street takeovers. And these are people that live in these democratic cities. They know that there's not going to be a response. They know that there's not going to be any, you know, punishment for them if they are happen to be caught in the very rare occasion. So they do it. And new ordinance, $500 fine. $500 fine for some of these people is not that bad, but I think what you need to do is you need to really clamp down on it. These people do this and do these street takeovers, you need to, take them and put them away in a jail or a facility where they can, work for the betterment of society because they've proven they want to destroy society. Uh, yeah, I will take any level of authoritarianism over these street takeovers, and we need to stop it. It needs to be 100% clamped down on, and 100% people. Oh, it looks fun. What about that is fun? You're a bunch of hoodlums causing cons of distress to local peoples. Like, shut that shit down, and just utterly like utterly stop that. All the people involved and like take them all in, investigate them, and interrogate them, and find out who was coordinating it, who posted the links on Facebook to attract these people, who were the coordinators of it, and those people sentenced to like 10 years. This is a new growing trend. This is a bunch of youth, shithead youths who have decided that they just want to, break down society, and they're the haha fuck society attitude, because these are not friendly people. And nobody who engages in this behavior is a good person. It's like they're not. These are not good people. These are the type of people who would steal from their grandparents. These are the type of people who would beat a random person up on the street, a family member of yours or anyone. Identify these people and just absolutely wreck their life. And if they can't prove that they're being good, or going to go back and do this, keep them. Don't allow them to get out. So yeah, the street takeovers is absolute that, and I support send in the National Guard, arrest every one of them, and don't let them out until they promise they'll never do it again. That's my a street takeover. If they're willing to go to that level lengths of society, no matter the crime, no matter the what actual damage was done. Their lawlessness cannot be allowed, and these people need to be absolutely and utterly clamped down on and put away and punished for this. And yeah, there's various places. Like, obviously there are people who have got done the time for these, but in a lot of places there is just very little punishment for it. It's these idiots like idea of rebelling, so they do it for that reason alone, and they think it's funny. But I think that, yeah, these people need to be zip tied and thrown in the back of a vehicle straight to alligator Alcatraz. That's my solution to it, because a society where this is on every street corner is going to be a miserable fucking society to live in. Way worse than any kind of, authoritarianism, surveillance, police state. Way worse. 100 times worse. So, but, I mean, you also have things like migrant gangs. Now, contrary to what liberals might allow you to believe, plenty of people who come from, other countries are coming here to just not like a better life. Like, they don't want a better life. They want to come here, exploit the system, destroy everything, take everything they can, form their little cliques. You know, this is the type of behavior that requires authoritarianism, because these people will come to the country and they will destroy everything and take everything from anyone, and they do not care about other people. They're they're through and through hardened evil human beings, and they're not going to, they're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe the US is so nice to me. They allowed me to get a better life. I'm going to work hard and, work my way up from, KFC to, owning a business, a restaurant chain someday. No, they're just going to sell drugs. They're just going to beat people up for money. They're just going to like, this is their only, that is their only idea of what they're going to do. So take these people, put them in alligator Alcatraz, and never let them out or send them back to where they came from. That requires authoritarianism. And I fully support all the stuff that ICE does because people can scream like, "Oh my God, they're such fascists! Oh my God, they're Yazis!" No, like these people are bad. It's like you do not know. Like these people are not needed. Do not need your sympathy. They would give you no sympathy. They would take from you. They would break your house. They're gonna like take your car, wreck it, fill it with the stolen stuff, fill it full of drugs. They're not nice people, and they're not going to come and like they're not going to come and like try and uh, like migration is such a problem in the world. I think we should just do 100% re-migration, send everything back, but the absolute best behaved of them. U.S. indictment. You have people like barbecue coming into frickin' U.S. and it's like Democrats are like, well, he said he was gonna behave and he said he was gonna be a good person and vote for us. No, no, no. Send them all back. It's like you don't need people in our government saying that these people might be good and that we should, like support them. So I support Trump, sending in the troops and just like, taking these people, putting them in whatever kind of facility of that. Like, there's this big weird thing in Western civilization that's like human rights. It's like human rights, human rights, human rights. I agree. If you live in the country and you're like a born citizen and you've lived your life well and you work legitimately, you're not involved in any criminal or organization, yeah, you deserve that. But if you've proven time and time and time again that you're part of violent gangs and you come from a country and you have questionable backgrounds and like you dress like a wankster and you're covered in tattoos and you're like posting all kinds of shit on social media with you and AKs and shit, like no, there's no, like, you're not gonna show other people human rights. Like, why do we have to be so nice to these people? And that is the kind of thing that, I support the ICE movement and the Trump era, is that I think for too long people just kind of, assumed there were good people and bad people. And that, for the most part, is true. But we're seeing more and more that people have realized that people who come from these other countries are coming in and they're like, their countries are bad. They're not going to bring anything positive from, a war torn country. And like, you're not going to be, like, you're not going to have like a good society if you just import a whole bunch of people from third world countries. You get like few that trickle in and are like, "Oh man, I'm so lucky." I came from a this like if every person in these third world countries was good, they wouldn't have the problems they have. It's like the reason that they are live in war torn countries is that inherently they grew up with a mindset and they're born into this mindset of lawlessness, not really caring about authority, they have no respect for the actual uh the actual like foundations that built Western society. They're just bad people. And a lot are coming in because why? We don't have authoritarianism in many places. We have like this free, everybody's nice, like let's let everybody in, let's just be nice to everyone type of mentality. I think we could build such a better society if we just clamp down as hard as we can on this kind of thing, because migration and street takeovers, roaming the streets, blowing things up, that's not going to fly. We're not going to allow that. We shouldn't allow that. And we should do everything in our power to prevent a society of lawlessness. And I support Trump's, use of the military because nobody has more authority in the world than military force. And a lot of these like police institutions are corrupt. Like there's foundations of them that like work with the criminals. Military is a little different. The military is formed on kind of just like the backbone of the government and control. So yeah, you got to use and oftentimes these, they feel threatened because on the street level they're making cash here, there, and everywhere, but on the military level they're in control, they're in power, and yeah, it's a whole thing. But I 100% support the Trump era of just using military force. Uh, a lot of a lot more power is involved in the military, a lot more honor, a lot more strength, and nobody's gonna fuck with a bunch of troops, man. And especially when a lot of these a lot of the people outside the military are corrupt and they're influenced by political opinion, whereas military just follows orders, they just do what they're told. And that is, that's true power. And if anybody can stop this permanently, I would love nothing more for migrant gangs to be 100% stopped, and the crime, the scourge of crime to just be absolutely booted. Because yeah, nothing pisses me off than more than criminal scumbags. It's just infuriating, and to think of them having any level of power in society is just despicable. It's truly despicable. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Peace.